So, can I move on? In your, as you said, decades-long career, you have published a number of papers and books while teaching at the same time, and you also managed the faculty as a dean. How did you concile these two functions? Could you please give us a brief account of the different stages in your career in this sense, doing so many things at the same time?
Mm-hmm. Yes, for 22 years, not consecutively, but in 3 different spans, I was chair of a department of otherwise modern languages and literatures. And I was rightly situated as the one and only classicist to be a kind of referee among the different modern language faculties. To keep the French and the Germans, the Italians and the Spanish happy by being impartial. The department has had, and sometimes I should say has suffered, leadership by someone belonging to one or another of those language programs. And it was never a secret that when there was someone from French, French benefited at the expense of other programs. When it was someone from German, German had unfair advantage. When someone from the small Russian program was chair, that program expanded. They got extra faculty. Well, I was not going to get extra faculty in classics. In fact, I made a deal once with a dean, now probably close to 30 years ago, that I would not push to develop a major program in classics, which would require at least one more faculty member in classics, so I'd have a colleague, someone to talk to. I would not do that, but instead I would manage the modern languages as judiciously as I could, although what turned out is that I pushed for all of them. Instead of having, say, a chair from German pressing for an extra position in German, I was pushing for extra positions in just about every one of the departments. But that was, in fact, appropriate, and I maintained, I think, balance. Now, I'm talking about balance now in my administrative function. I never taught fewer than 3 classes of the 6 that are normally the load of a tenured faculty member in my department. So I always taught at least a half load of teaching. I would not let go of teaching. I enjoy it too much. I'm not one of the best. I'm aware of that. Although the best students respond to me better than some of those who need a little bit more holding by the hand to move through material. But I was able to find the time to keep giving papers. Once I started giving papers, first in the late 70s, picking up speed in the 80s, and then through the 90s, I was a regular paper giver at 2 or 3 different conferences every year. I managed somehow, maybe at some sacrifice of personal time with family, although I work as much as I can at home. So I'm there, although I'm busy almost all the time that I'm not actually teaching. But administration, leadership, I was maybe not the most valiant leader developing new curriculum and that sort of thing. But I trusted faculty. I trusted faculty more than some chairs of the department, and I haven't been chair all the time, than some of the chairs did. I would not micromanage any program as other chairs have done. And in some ways, I'm not all that effective a paper pusher. I sometimes have to be pushed myself to do some of the things that others who are maybe more more destined by their character to be leaders. The chair of a department, that's what we call the head of an academic department, is a chairperson. Some are really gifted. They have a vocation. The current chair in my department of what's now called Languages, Literatures, and Cultures, she is a born leader and chairperson. I knew that as soon as I met her when she was appointed in the year 2007. She was destined to be chair of the department someday, and now this is her second full year as chair. She has fulfilled her destiny, and she's terrific. Much better in some respects, not in all, but in some respects than I ever was. But her scholarship is suffering, and I have urged her, and she has taken this as confirmation of what she already determined to do. She has decided that 1 3-year term as chair was enough. She wanted to get back to her scholarship. She's an associate professor. She wants promotion to full professorship. And she did not want to wait as long as I did. I was associate professor in 1981, and I was full professor in 2017. I may be in the Guinness Book of Records for longest term as an associate professor, remaining alive and not retired, and getting the full promotion. But I did not devote so much of my time to administration, even when the department was much larger. It split recently. Even when the department was much larger, I did not spend as much time as Rachel Walsh, my current boss, does. Her scholarship has essentially stopped. I would never let mine stop completely, although when the department grew to over 30 people, it was not possible for me to produce at the rate I had done as a scholar. But I kept teaching, and it was always a good thing to have tutorial students. Much of the Greek and Latin that I teach after the elementary Latin is tutorial. It was nice to have a tutorial student or a couple of tutorial students in my office with the door open, so faculty with a problem would come to me seeking a solution to a problem, or refereeing in a dispute with a colleague. They would come by, they would look for me, and they were angry, and they wanted a solution. They wanted an intervention right away. And they could see I was with a student, or a couple of students doing Latin or Greek. So they would look and then go away. And at least half of the time, maybe much more often than not, the problem would simmer down or would be solved on my colleague's own initiative. That's not the best kind of management, probably, but it worked. It worked for me, and my colleagues elected me and reelected me and reelected me as chair, until finally a dean intervened and said, "You've got to stop being chair." And there was going to be a big transition in the structure of the department that the higher administration had planned. But I might still be chair. I'm glad that I wasn't, because I did have, there was a health issue now about 3 years ago that would have made it impossible for me to do everything. I had to take a quarter off.